had no idea how powerful the words "I am retired" were going to be, but wow, that changed a few things. I'll tell you about that after we talk about the sewing stuff. Hi, I'm Myrna. Thanks for joining me in my studio, and thank you to everyone that commented last week. I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to more comments. I was also I know I told you I'm not getting caught up in the numbers, but I do check them. And it was interesting, the large number of people who unsubscribed last week. So those of you who are still here, we're going on this journey together, and it wasn't the journey for them, but it definitely is the one for me. First, I wanted to talk about how I was going to get started with Operation Wardrobe. What would be enough of a plan without being a prison? One of the things I wanted to make sure that I did was to connect the garments. So although they might not all go together, there was cohesiveness and flow in the wardrobe. The first thing I decided to do was sew the kite pants by Matchy Matchy, because I already had my friend's sewn pair that I could try on as a muslin, make the corrections that would work for me with a fairly high guarantee of success. And I also decided to make another pair of pants, the Chanterelle View B, which I have never sewn and do not have a muslin to try on. But when I looked at it, if I needed to shorten from the bottom or from the top, it would be relatively easy to do once I had fitted the inseam and crotch. Not my usual sew together method, but doable. It has pockets here, and I don't want to just cut off the pockets and not lower them. Chances are I'm going to have to take a couple inches off the top. I am just under 5'4", and I am petite through here and petite through the crotch. Typically I take at least an inch out in my armhole and somewhere between an inch and 2 in the crotch depth. I also have the top of the waistband right at my belly button because my waist literally goes in and out. So if I have a bigger waistband, it's just going to fold down like this. There's nothing to keep it up. There's no level of flat. If I have the top of the waistband at my in point, then it just sits like this. That took forever, and I'm still tweaking it, but that is working. So what I did is I went to my closet and I chose this blouse because I wanted to start with something that connected to something. And then I picked this striped fabric for the kite pants. It is a light cotton, very flowy, but still has some structure, twillish type thing. I'm no good with the names of fabrics. I just know whether I like it or not. So those two went together really well. And this also goes with the Marcy Tilton skirt I finished recently. So therefore I have a top, a skirt, and I will have a pair of pants, starting to make a combo. I also had this blouse, which I would wear with this. I know some people wouldn't, but I would wear those two together. Except this blouse is a bit tight across the back. Remember in an earlier video when I said sew one size in the front? You know that if you're a 10 and you sew an 8 in the front and a 12 in the back, you get the same circumference, but maybe it distributes over your body better. I definitely needed the back of this to be wider, but love this shirt and will probably make it again. I thought that this also went with this fabric, which also goes with this blouse, which gives me a certain degree of interchangeability. This is the fabric I chose for the chanterelles. And then my idea is to add another top that goes with both of those and perhaps brings in an additional color. It's most likely to go with denim. So I already have some denim jeans and I have this denim skirt. And then I can head off in that direction of another grouping with that other color in it. Don't ask me what that color is, I'm not there yet. But let me talk a little bit about choosing patterns. These are some of the patterns I'm considering for the second top. And I wanted to sort of explain how I am choosing. First by telling you what I'm wearing. The top is Butterick 5891. I believe it's out of print by Catherine Tilton. And I like how loose this is and how it has shape and it has interest and details and lots of top stitching, and it just sort of floats above my hips, making them actually look smaller than they are because they're the biggest part of my body. The pants are Vogue 9114. I recently made them in a sort of lime green linen. Really like the way they flow. With this outfit, I prefer to wear 3/4 sleeves. However, this is a ready-to-wear t-shirt and I do not have any right now with 3/4 sleeves. The pants I would like to be about an inch, inch and a half longer, and they were, except I got them caught in the chain of my bicycle and had to cut them off. That's why they're too short. To start with, I went through my closet and I took out anything I was done with and put that in the appropriate pile. And then I took out anything that I still really liked but haven't worn in a while. I folded that up and put it in a box so that at some point it can be Christmas of clothing. And I had that feeling about 2 weeks ago when I was cleaning my guest room closet and I discovered a pair of jeans in there that I think when I sewed them they were too tight, but they are now just perfect. And also this was in there because I think it also was too tight and now fits fine. Don't ask me what happened, I don't remember. And as I was cleaning out my closet, I was basically looking at what I have and thinking about why do I like to wear this? Why is it staying in rotation instead of leaving? I almost put these pants in a box, but the question came up, if I wasn't wearing them as often, would I still want them in my rotation? I think the answer is yes, but I don't know, so I'll leave them there for now. Let's calm down, puppy. Go edit this a little bit, and then I'll tell you about these patterns. All the sunshine is gone. It is later in the evening. Today is Easter Sunday. I had lunch with family, dinner with friends. In between, I've been filming this video. 2 sections to go. Once I picked the pants and I had the one shirt, I decided I wanted to sew another shirt. So I went into my patterns and I pulled out all the shirts that I thought I might like to sew right now. And then the first thing I did was edit out one that I've already sewn. Of all of these, I've only sewn one. This is Butterick 6686. That's the short sleeve blue top that I showed you earlier with the little sort of bleachy, spotty stuff on it. I do want to sew that again, but not right now. Then I took out the ones that I thought were more winter than current. I have never had a seasonal wardrobe, but I think that could be fun to sew some just summer and some just winter things. This one is just winter. This one is the Archer shirt, which many people have sewn, but not me. I think that it actually could look quite good sleeveless. I especially love these gathers at the back. I don't like gathers in front of me or around me, but behind me is okay. I will contemplate that as sleeveless at some point in the future, but not right now. And that left these. I know, so many. So then I was looking at them and thinking, what do these have in common with clothes that I already enjoy? This one has a fluttery hemline, which is very similar to this. It is McCall's 6960. I would see it as definitely summer. So down the line, but not right now. This one, McCall's 72, one should be wearing their reading glasses for this, 7286. I'll put pictures in the gallery at the end. This is a t-shirt, so jersey or knit fabrics. It has raglan sleeves. I bought it because I wanted to try raglan sleeves, but I currently don't want to make a t-shirt because I have worn so many of those. I'd like to try something different. These ones, Berta 5775 and Simplicity 9467 are also, this one definitely screams more winter to me. This one has a sleeveless version. It has a, I was going to say it has a short sleeve version, but it doesn't. You either have sleeves or you don't. And it has gathers in the front and back. It is very similar to the blue one, and so I think that if I made it in a very lightweight fabric with longer sleeves or 3/4 sleeves, but I don't think this is its moment, maybe a little bit down the line, which leaves these three. This isn't out of print, I know that because of the price on it. Burda 6762, which is basically a woven t-shirt with darts. Very, very simple. And you can make it with tiny cap sleeves or shorter sleeves or 3/4 sleeves. That's definitely in the running as something transitional that could be worn with some really interesting pants and some really interesting skirts. I think I would tend to make that in a solid, and it might be the shirt that would go with those two pant fabrics. This one is a wrap top, also out of print because of the price. Burda 6331. Wrap is always flattering on me, so that's something to try. And this one, McCall's 7976, is, I was going to say, oh, I can't tell, switching glasses, is a cut-on sleeve, but it has a nicely defined yoke in the back. Let me rephrase that. It is a cut-on sleeve on the front and a seamed sleeve on the back. How that goes together in the middle, I don't know, which makes it very attractive because it's completely different. It's something with the styling that I've never, still not over the cold, that I've never tried, and it has the simplicity and drape and the shirt tail hemline that I really like. So I think that did the editing for me. And the two that are in the running are McCall's 7976 and Burda 6762. And it will just depend on what fabrics I have and how much I have of them. I have a couple really pretty shirt fabrics that I don't have very much of. This one ranges between 1.5 meters and 1.7 meters, so that's completely doable. And the 1.7 is with the 3/4 sleeve, so I could make any of these views. And this one ranges between, at 115 centimeters, 1.5 and 2.3, and at 150 centimeters, 1.4 and 1.8. So they take a similar amount of fabric, which surprised me. These ones will be patterns in waiting, and these ones will be patterns up next. I'll be right back with my thoughts on retirement. We all know that words have weight, but I was very surprised at the lack of weight, when I said out loud in front of a camera to all of you, I am retired. And I started wondering why. I was raised with what I call the European work ethic, that you work hard, you don't waste time, you're very practical, you get the job done. And I learned to be a hard worker, and I really appreciate that. It has done me well. And there are more pros than cons to being a really good worker. The other culture I was raised in that has gotten stronger since my teens until now is this idea that you're here to make money, as much money as you can, and that the measure of success is money, and if you are good at something or you have a good idea, you need to turn it into money. Even when you have walked away from that to a certain extent, it is still all around you. However, that is the same culture that thinks that retirement should be one big party. I don't agree with that. I think retirement needs to be as meaningful as any other part of your life. But when I say the phrase, I'm retired, there's no subliminal message there other than you should really enjoy yourself. And if I tell people I'm retired, they'll be like, yay, you. It just took off all that pressure. Whether I was putting it subconsciously on myself, whether I was absorbing it from the culture around me, whether it's just plain in the air, but it went away. And I am delighted with that. I mentioned it to several friends. One said, you know, I've been thinking the same is true for me too, but I just hadn't put it into words yet. And another said, I am absolutely having the same thoughts for next year when her husband retires. Both of these women are in the arts like I am. I think I needed those magic words and I'm very grateful for them. It's now Sunday night. I'm going to go put my feet up for the rest of the evening. Tomorrow morning I'll do a few little, I'll clean up all the mess that I have over here from this video and get ready for Mary to come, and we will be having a socation for the next week. Thank you so much for being here. See you next time.